The story begins as a boy named Hiro meets God after he passes away, but he's offered a second chance at life. The God admits that he made a mistake, which caused Hiro to live a life filled with sickness and betrayal, and he asks Hiro if he has any requests. So he asks to try farming, because when he was in the hospital, he watched a show about an idol's farming experience. The god gets permission from the goddess of agriculture, and he gives Hiro an omnipotent farming tool before sending him to his new life. As Hiro wakes up in the new world, he's excited to finally have a healthy body, but he notices he's alone in a forest. He recalls that he asked to be away from civilization, but he thinks he's so far that no one will come there, and he realizes he doesn't have anything with him. He remembers the omnipotent farming tool that he was given, so he takes it out, and it turns out to be a hoe. He gets to work, and realizes he doesn't get tired no matter how much he swings the hoe, and it even plows through the ground like it's nothing. He starts to explore the forest, because he needs water and food, but he doesn't find anything. He knows he might run into a monster, so he decides to make a base around a huge tree, which he thinks will make a good landmark. He plans to dig a well since he can't find any water, so he takes out his omnipotent tool, and realizes it can take the form of any tool he wants. He starts to dig, and manages to find water on his first try, so he thinks he got lucky. He decides to look for food next, but notices he doesn't feel hungry, and thinks it's because of his omnipotent tool. He starts to build his base, as he looks for something he can eat, but he doesn't find anything, and he comes across a tree, which will get in the way when he starts to cultivate his field. He turns his farming tool into an axe, and comes up with a plan on how he should cut the tree, but as he takes a swing, his axe instantly slices through it. He runs as it crashes to the ground, and we see that it almost fell on him, but he's glad that he was able to bring it down in a single swing. He uses a hatchet to process the wood, and manages to make timber, but he realizes the sun is about to go down, and he can't turn his tool into a flashlight or a lamp. He decides to start a fire, but his tool won't turn into a match or a lighter, so he transforms it into a magnifying glass instead, but he realizes that the sun is already gone. He makes a hole in the trunk of a tree, and decides to stay there for the night, but he's surprised by how well he can see, and thinks it's because there are 2 moons in the sky. The next day, Hiro starts a fire early to make sure he doesn't forget it again, and he continues to clear the area for his field. He starts to feel hungry, and a giant rabbit suddenly attacks him, but he easily defeats it. He cooks it over his campfire, and realizes it doesn't taste good, but he's glad that he at least found something to eat. He makes a toilet, but he doesn't feel comfortable using it in the open, so he builds walls around it. After that, Hiro makes a field, and wonders what he should grow there, but he realizes he doesn't have any seeds. As he wakes up the next day, he's surprised to see plants growing from the field, even though he didn't plant anything, and he realizes it's because of the omnipotent farming tool. He decides to build a fence next, and he digs a trench around the field to protect it from monsters, as he hunts rabbits for food. He hopes that the plants growing in his fields turn out to be edible, because he would be disappointed if they were just flowers. He builds a hut as well, because he's tired of living in the tree trunk, and one day, he notices 2 injured dogs outside his fence, so he invites them in and feeds them some meat. He recalls that when he was a kid, he always wanted to have a dog, so he wouldn't mind if they stayed with him. He notices that one of them is pregnant, and she goes into labor, so he takes them to his hut. He wonders what he can do to help them, but he decides to just leave them there and goes to the trunk, because he thinks a human shouldn't be with them during such an important moment. The next day, Hiro returns to the hut, and he's glad to see that everything went smoothly, so he gives the parents boar meat to celebrate. After that, the dogs stay with him, and he builds a new house, since he doesn't want to kick them out of the hut where they're staying. The crops are finally ready to harvest, so he picks out the tomatoes, while the dogs hunt and patrol the area, but he's surprised that they also eat vegetables. He names the female dog Yuki, and the male one Kuro, and he knows he needs to make a storehouse for the vegetables, but he isn't worried, since he plans to take things nice and slow. God checks up on Hiro, and sees that he made another mistake by sending him to a forest filled with dangerous monsters, so he tries to call him back. But he recalls that he can't interfere when a person's life has already started, so he plans to apologize to Hiro when his soul returns. Meanwhile, Hiro has harvested a lot of vegetables, and he realized that thanks to the farming tool, he can grow any vegetable he likes as long as he thinks about it while plowing the field. The plants also grow at an incredible speed, and he notices that the potatoes have turned green from where the sun has hit them, so he thinks he should make a mound of dirt near the base of the plants. He built statues of the gods because they're the reason he has a new life, and he's also planted fruit trees, but he knows they take years to grow, so he needs to be patient. As he eats lunch, he thinks he has started to spoil the dogs, but he doesn't mind it as long as they're happy. He plays with them, and he's glad he isn't lonely in this world, because he doesn't know how long he would survive without any companions. He manages to find a river, and thinks he couldn't have done it without his dogs, since they helped him explore the forest without getting lost. He plans to dig a path for the water to reach his base, and he makes a toilet near the river, since he knows he will need to work there for a while. He continues to expand his field, and he grows all kinds of crops, but he wishes he had salt to add flavor to his food. It starts to get cold in the forest, and since his clothes aren't good enough to survive the winter, he plans to start a bonfire and just stay in his hut. A spider settles on top of the huge tree, and it uses its web to make a handkerchief, which amazes Hiro. He names the spider Zabu, and she continues to make all kinds of things for him, including warm clothes and curtains for his house, which makes him feel more civilized. Winter finally arrives, but Hiro is prepared for it, since he's already gathered food that will last him through the season, and he's glad that his hut can handle the snowfall. He starts to feel lonely, since he hasn't talked to anyone for a while, and he's worried he might forget how to speak. When winter finally ends, the puppies head into the forest, and Hiro thinks they've decided to leave their nest since they've already grown up, but they return with their partners after a few days. Zabu also shows up with a bunch of kids, so Hiro thinks he needs to work harder, since he now has more mouths to feed. Zabu suddenly sounds the alarm one day, and the dogs lead Hiro into the forest, where he finds a girl named Lu. She's afraid of his companions, so he calms them down, but as he gets close to help her, she bites his neck and sucks his blood. Her body glows as it suddenly matures, but the dogs attack her, and she once again turns into a little girl. She assures Hiro she isn't an enemy, and explains that she only sucked his blood to regain her strength, because she used up all of her energy, which is why she couldn't maintain her adult form. He feels bad that they beat her up, so he tells her she can drink his blood, but he doesn't feel anything no matter how much she drinks. As her body matures, he notices she's still small compared to earlier, so she explains that he might die if she drinks more, but he tells her to take as much blood as she likes. After that, Hiro takes Lu to his base, where she's amazed to see all the crops he's grown, and he picks out a tomato for her, which she finds delicious. He spends the day showing her around, and at night, she reveals that she came to the forest because she got into a fight with a few nobles, who tried to steal her research on medicinal plants. She thinks no one will come to the forest because of its reputation, but he has no idea what she's talking about, so she realizes he knows nothing about it. He knows he might never run into another person again, so he begs her to stay with him forever, but she reminds him she's a vampire, and notes that people are looking for her. He tells her he doesn't care, and explains that he came to the forest because he wasn't good at dealing with people, but he doesn't know how much longer he can survive living alone. She agrees to live with him, but notes that they just met, so he tells her they can get to know each other as they live together. She thinks he wants her to marry him, so he explains he just wants her to live with him since he's lonely, but she becomes upset and reminds him that he told her to live with him forever. She wonders if she misunderstood it, so he tells her he meant everything he said, and begs her to stay with him again. She tells him to stop, because she already accepted his request, which makes him happy. The next day, Hiro wonders why Lu turns small, so she notes that it's for her own protection, because he won't think about touching her when she's in that state. She asks him if they can grow medicinal herbs, and he thinks they might be able to, so she tells him they need to look for the right seeds, but he tells her they don't need them. Hiro was glad Lu decided to live with him, because she used magic to light the place up, and even told him they're surrounded by salt, so he no longer needs to eat food without flavor. He shows Lu the fruit trees, and mentions that they take longer to grow than the other plants, but she's excited to see how they turn out. Zabu suddenly sounds the alarm, so they rush to check what's going on, and they notice a girl named Tia, who's been trapped by Zabu's webs. She cries for help, so he sets her free, and she uses magic to heal her wounds, but he notices that Lu is trying to get away. Tia recognizes her, and demands that she turn herself in, but the dogs attack Tia for acting hostile. They take her back to the base, and Lu tells her she went through the same thing, because her magic didn't work on the dogs. Tia wonders who Hiro is, so Lu blushes and notes that he's her husband, which shocks Tia. She tells him she's an angel, so he wonders if she serves God, but Lu notes that she's just part of a race of warriors that have more muscle than brain. He wonders why Tia is chasing Lu, so she explains that there's a bounty on Lu's head because she went on a rampage. Lu notes that it's because a noble forced her to make strange medicines, but Tia knows that she spends all her time researching medicine, and when something doesn't go her way, she just blows everything up. Lu admits she went overboard, and tells Hiro she came to the forest to run from Tia, because she knows that Tia is stronger than her. Tia is surprised to hear this, since Lu never used to admit her weakness, and she tells Tia to stay with them as well. Lu shows her around the base to convince her, but when Lu introduces her to Zabu, she freaks out and passes out. Lu takes her to harvest the crops, while Hiro shows her how to pick out a cabbage, and as she eats it, she's surprised by how delicious it is. She spends the day helping them harvest, and at night, she tells them she had fun, so Lu convinces her to stay with them. They work together the next day, and Tia asks Hiro if they can make more strawberries, but he explains that even if they expand the crop field, they can't handle any more work. They come across the new puppies, and as Hiro picks one of them up, he realizes that their family is growing. He knows they won't be able to fit in the hut soon, so he makes a dog area near the field. But he sees that Zabu's children have left to start a new journey, and notices that a few of them are still there, so he plans to make a place for them as well. Tia tells him she needs to leave to take care of something, and as she flies away, Lu assures him she'll be back before they know it. Tia returns with a group of elves, and as they introduce themselves, Hiro is surprised by how similar their names are, so they explain it's because they're related. They note that Tia told them to come with her, and they ask for his permission to stay there, while Tia notes that they all share a tragic backstory. She reveals that their village was wiped out when they were dragged into a war by the humans, and they've been wandering around ever since, because they have nowhere else to go. They explain that they haven't been able to repopulate their race, because they couldn't find a place to call home, so Hiro tells them they can stay there if they get along with everyone else. They wonder who else lives there, so Lu introduces them to Zabu and the dogs, which causes them to pass out. After that, Hiro decides to build a huge house for them to stay in, and they see him cut down a tree in one swing, which makes them think he must be extremely strong. He knows they know more about construction than he does, so he just follows their instructions, and they complete the house in 10 days. Lu and Tia mention that the house is bigger than their hut, which makes Hiro jealous, but he's glad that he was able to learn their techniques. The elves start to get used to their new life, and he sees them eat the raw garlic they just plucked from the field, but he can't believe they're enjoying it. He's surprised that they use fire and eat meat as well, because he thought elves are one with nature and hate flames. One of them, named Leah, laughs as she listens to him, and notes that it's impossible to survive without using fire. He mentions all the stereotypes he heard about elves, but she tells him he underestimates nature, since it's so harsh that it will kill anyone who tries to live that way. She offers to do mining and blacksmithing for him to show their gratitude, so they build a workstation and craft a walk for him. He's amazed by the number of things they can do, and Leah explains that it's the benefit of wandering around for 200 years, but the only thing they can't do is settle down and reproduce. They notice that Hiro has a wheat field, so they ask for his permission to bake bread, and as everyone tastes it, they realize it's delicious. Hiro asks Leah if anyone owns the land they're on, and she reveals that it's under the Demon Lord's control, so he wonders if the Demon Lord will have a problem with his crop fields. But she explains that since nobody helped him build anything, the land now belongs to him. At night, Tia and the others talk about how amazing Hiro is, since he tamed monsters and grew the crops, but they can't understand why he doesn't know much about the world. Zabu shows Hiro a queen bee she caught, and tells him she doesn't want to eat it, so he decides to keep it as his pet. He builds a hut for the bees, and they make a nest in 10 days, so he wonders if he'll be able to get honey from them. After that, Hiro digs a reservoir for the water he plans to get from the river, but he hasn't put any time into it, since he's been busy with other things. Leah asks him what he'll use to make the waterway, so he notes that it's usually made from stone, but she tells him it will be difficult to find stone in the forest. He thinks about using wood instead, but Leah notes that the gaps will cause water to leak, so he uses his farming tool on the dirt, and makes it as hard as concrete. They start to work on the waterway, and Hiro gets the elves to do the basic tasks, while he seals the seams and strengthens the foundation. They manage to fill the reservoir, which also brings in fish from the river, and he thinks they're easy to catch. But a big one suddenly comes in through the waterway, so he cuts it up and cooks it. Lu and Tia aren't sure if it's edible, since it's from the forest of death, and he tells them to eat it, but they want him to take the first bite. He notes that it tastes like salmon, and everyone reluctantly tries it, but they're surprised by how delicious it is. Hiro tells them he plans to make a rice paddy, so he plows the field and fills it with water, but they don't understand what he's doing. He gives them seedlings to plant, and they have a hard time with it at first, but they eventually get the hang of it. The rice plants grow quickly, so the elves harvest them, and they get it done in the blink of an eye. He notes that they need to thresh the crops, so he copies a thresher he saw in a museum, and shows everyone how to use it. He also teaches how to cook the rice, but Lu thinks he's chanting a spell, since they don't understand what he's saying. He tells Lu to use her magic to light a fire, so she thinks it's her chance to show everyone how powerful she is, and prepares to destroy everything, but he tells her he just needs a small flame. He makes rice balls, and everyone finds them delicious, but when he prepares to eat, he notices that the elves have already taken all of them. After that, Hiro sees everyone clean themselves with magic, so he decides to build a bath, and tells everyone about his plan. They think they can just wash themselves in the river, but he explains that they'll freeze during the winter, and notes that taking a bath improves their health. As they work on the bathhouse, Hiro is worried about throwing their wastewater back into the river, so Tia tells him they can use slimes to clean the water, since they eat waste products. He thinks they're dangerous, but she tells him it isn't true, and leaves to find slimes for the bath. Hiro puts the slimes in the wastewater, and as he goes to get firewood for the bath, he notices a mushroom. He recalls that he hasn't eaten mushrooms, since he can't tell if they're poisonous, and he decides to grow the ones he's familiar with, but he forgets about the bath. After the bath is ready, Hiro tells everyone how to use it, but they don't understand what he's saying, so they ask him to show them instead. He removes his clothes and gets in the bath, but he zones out for a bit, because it's been a long time since he took a bath. Everyone suddenly joins him, and they enjoy the experience, but he's embarrassed since he's surrounded by girls. The next day, the dogs bring more elves to Hiro, and Leah reveals that they also lived in the same village, but it's been 200 years since they saw each other. He allows them to live there as well, so Leah notes that they should build a new house for them, and take the chance to improve his house as well. They're excited to work for him, and Leah mentions that they should also start having children, but Hiro wonders how they plan to do that. Kuro notices that Hiro's female companions are increasing in number, and he thinks about how before he met Hiro, he lived alone in the forest. He had never lost a fight to a male, and thought he could do whatever he liked, but everything changed when he lost to a girl. They started to travel together, and he got her pregnant, so he was excited to have a pack, but they got injured when they fought a grappler bear. They had trouble hunting because of their injuries, and eventually arrived at the center of the forest, where even the grappler bear was afraid to come. He was surprised to see Hiro, since he didn't expect to see a weak human in the area, but he sensed limitless power from his farming tool. They thought their lives were over, but Hiro took them instead of killing them, so they decided to serve him as their master. Kuro is worried that Hiro doesn't know about their true nature, and we learn that they're vicious monsters known as Inferno Wolves. But he thinks everything will be fine, and he's just glad that his fate led him to Hiro. Leah shows Hiro and the others the new house, and they're surprised by how big it is, but he already knew it was going to be huge, because Leah had him put in a lot of work. She gives them a tour, and Lu and Tia are excited since they have their own rooms, but Hiro notices a locked door. He opens it, and sees a huge bed for 2 people, but he pretends that he didn't see it. Leah asks him to stay there for the winter, telling him to let them know if he wants to change anything, and he makes a statue of the dogs, which he puts right in front of the house. Lu and Tia ask Hiro what they will have for dinner, so he notes that he'll prepare curry, but he's never cooked it before. They harvest the ingredients for the curry, and he takes them to gather cumin first, telling them it gives the curry its smell. The next thing they harvest is turmeric, which gives the curry its color, but they only need the plant's roots, so he tells them to dry out the part that's sticking out of the ground. As he picks out cilantro from the crops, the dogs smell it and run away, so Lu and Tia realize they can use it against them. Hiro gathers all the ingredients, but he notices that Lu and Tia aren't with him, and Leah is the only one there to help him. They start to prepare the curry, and she likes the way it smells, so she's excited to eat it. Hiro realizes he forgot to make naan, and thinks about making rice instead, but he wants to eat naan with the curry. He knows it's usually made inside a stove, but it can also be prepared in a pot, so he makes enough for everyone to eat. After Lu and Tia arrive, Hiro serves it to everyone, and they think it looks strange, but they all find it delicious. He tells them they don't need to eat it if they don't like it, since it's a unique flavor that isn't for everyone, but they all fill up their bowls again, so he asks them to leave a bit for him. Winter is about to arrive, and Hiro knows they won't be able to leave the house during the season, so he gathers a lot of firewood. He goes to see Zabu and gives her a basket of food, because she hibernates during the winter, and she gives him blankets in return. Lu and Tia preserve meat for the winter, while Hiro works on preserving the vegetables, and he sees Lu use magic. He wishes he could do it as well, and he tries to summon flames, but nothing happens. At night, Lu shows Hiro a low-level spell, but explains that he can't use it if he doesn't study magic, and he notes that everyone makes using magic look easy, so he thought he might be able to do it as well. He mentions how Tia summoned a golem to help her out, but Lu explains that the spell is difficult to use, even for other magic users. He's amazed that Tia can use such a spell, and notes that she can even summon multiple golems at the same time, so Lu reminds him he can do amazing things as well. As it starts to snow, Hiro makes board games to keep them entertained, and he starts with Reversi. He explains the rules to everyone, but Lu wonders how such a simple game can be fun to play, so Tia notes that its simplicity allows for complex strategies to be made. Lu challenges to play her, and she knows she's about to lose, so she flips the board, but Tia uses magic to return all the pieces to their position. Hiro notices Leah playing the game as well, but he sees that Kuro is helping her, and he even plays a game with his partner. Lu challenges Kuro to play with her because she doesn't think she can lose to a dog, but he ends up winning the game, which makes her depressed. After that, Hiro plays mahjong with Kuro and the others, and he thinks Kuro isn't smart enough to understand the rules, so he plans to avenge Lu, but Kuro ends up winning again. Hiro makes a mini bowling game, and they label the pens as criminals, because Lu doesn't understand why they need to knock them down. He manages to bowl a spare, while Lu hits a strike, and he wonders if everyone likes bowling because of how simple it is. After winter ends, Zabu suddenly sounds the alarm, and they notice a wyvern flying toward them. Hiro wonders if it will just pass over them, but it shoots a fireball, so Lu and Tia block it with a barrier. Hiro doesn't know what to do, because he knows that even if they try to run away, it will just follow them, so he has no choice but to fight it. His farming tool suddenly transforms into a spear, and he throws it at the wyvern, which summons a barrier to defend itself. The spear breaks through it and destroys the wyvern's wing, so he recalls it and throws it again, blowing a hole into the wyvern's chest. They check its body, and Hiro wonders if it's common to run into a wyvern, so Tia tells him it's an incredibly rare creature. He wonders if someone sent it to go after them, but they think it isn't the case, because no one would let such a rare creature go off on its own. He wonders if they can eat its meat, and the girls note that it's said to be incredibly delicious, so he cooks it for everyone. Lu asks Tia if she could have blocked his spear, so she notes that she doesn't stand a chance against it, because it was so strong that it broke through the 3-layer barrier of the wyvern. At the Demon Lord's castle, 3 of the 4 generals have a meeting, and one of them, named Beezle, reports that a wyvern was defeated in 2 blows. The other generals think it's impossible, but Beezle tells them not to panic, and notes that it's their duty to remain calm, but one of them resigns from his position. The next day, Hiro thinks about how even though the wyvern's meat was delicious, he still feels like it's missing something important, and he decides to make wine. Everyone gathers the grapes, and he tells everyone to stomp on them, while he changes the barrels when they fill up. Tia slips on the grapes, and she wishes they had a way to maintain rhythm, so the elves start to sing a song from their village. They enjoy the experience, and Tia tells Lu to join them, so she makes Hiro come with her as well. We see God as he watches Hiro, and he's glad that Hiro is happy, but he tells the goddess of agriculture to forgive him for his actions. She reminds him that he mistakenly punished an innocent man, and when he tried to help Hiro, he ended up sending him to the forest of death. On top of that, he also gave Hiro the spear, which is so strong that it could drain his life force in an instant. God explains that Hiro will be fine, since he gave him a perfectly healthy body, but she refuses to listen to his excuses. She's also angry since the statue Hiro built of her is of an old man, and she tells the god to sit for 300 years as punishment. Meanwhile, Zabu sounds the alarm, and Hiro goes to check it out, but he sees that Zabu has captured another girl named Flora, who turns out to be Lu's sister. She notes that when she heard Lu was chased to the forest by the infamous black-hearted angel, she came looking for her, but Tia knows Flora was referring to her. Hiro tells Flora to stay there as long as she likes, but she doesn't understand why he's Lou's husband, so she notes that he's in charge there, and he's also the master of the Inferno Wolves. Flora apologizes for being rude, and he's surprised to learn that Kuro and the others are wolves, but he doesn't understand what Inferno means, so Kuro shoots fire out of his mouth to demonstrate his powers. At night, Hiro treats Flora to dinner, and she's amazed by how good the tofu tastes, so he tells her it's fermented out of soybeans. She writes down everything he tells her in a magic notebook, and she's excited that she's found something to research, telling him she'll make sure everyone tastes his cooking. She returns with her maids after a month, and the head maid Anna tells him to use them any way he sees fit, but he tells her she doesn't need to be so formal. He notices that Flora also brought cows with her, which makes him excited, because he can use their milk to make butter. Tia notices everyone else has a group of their species, but she's the only angel there, so she brings her underlings there as well, along with a chicken for Hiro. After that, the maids take care of all the chores, but they aren't great at cooking, so he teaches them everything he knows, and they prepare a dish out of killer rabbits for him. Hiro checks on the angels that Tia brought, and wonders why they're wearing battle attire, but he realizes that Tia plans to have them act as their security. As he thinks about how much the population has increased, Leah brings even more elves with her, and he wonders why there aren't any males among them. She reveals that none of them survived, but they aren't worried about it, because they plan to repopulate their species. Hiro gathers all the representatives to name the village, and Luz suggests naming it after him, while Anna thinks they should name it after the forest. He doesn't like their ideas, but Zabu points to a door, and as Hiro opens it, he sees the huge tree outside, so he names their town the Great Tree Village. He throws a party to celebrate the occasion, and everyone starts to call him the mayor, so he notes that they will decide that in the future, but they tell him he's the only person suitable for that job. Beazle visits the village, and after he gives a gift to Hiro, he mentions that the Demon Lord wants to talk to him about his settlement. Hiro thinks he will demand taxes for living on his property, and wonders if he should talk with Lu and Tia before doing anything, but he knows he's the mayor, so he needs to step up and take charge. He tells Beazle that if the Demon Lord is willing to accept them on his land, they will pay 10% of their harvest as tax payment. But he wonders if he started too low on the percentage, since Beazle doesn't seem to be happy. He immediately accepts Hiro's proposal and draws up a contract, which mentions that they will pay 10% of the harvest from the fields. But if the Demon Lord is interested in anything else they produce, they will need to trade for it. Hiro sends Beazle back with a gift, and he wonders if he did a good job, so Lu mentions that he was great, since paying taxes means they're under the Demon Lord's protection. Tia is surprised that Beazle accepted the 10% payment. The agreement makes the Demon Lord officially recognize them as residents, and his officials can't correctly measure how much they harvest during the year, so Anna tells Hiro he did an excellent job. Lu checks out the gift Beazle gave Hiro, and realizes it's an almighty medicine that can heal any injury, so she's excited to use it. Meanwhile, Beazle tells the other generals that Hiro and his village are under their protection, which makes them wonder why Hiro would do that, since he's strong enough to take down a wyvern. They think Hiro might have a hidden motive, and Beazle explains that he had no choice but to accept his proposals, because the Vampire Queen and the Angel of Annihilation were with him. On top of that, Hiro had a pack of Inferno Wolves, as well as an army of High Elves, and the group that took him to see Hiro was a trio of killer angels. So he thought that if he didn't accept Hiro's offer, they would have executed him on the spot. He shows them the gift Hiro gave him, and one of them, named Gratz, realizes they're just apples, so he eats one of them. Beazle notices the clothes the apples were wrapped in, and realizes they were made by a great demon spider, and they can't believe it, because demon spiders are so powerful that the previous demon lord couldn't defeat them. The ruler of the dragons, named Drime, visit Hiro with a man named Gucci, and they give him a gift, but he wonders what they're doing there. Gucci notes that Drime's lair is south of their village, and even though they're quite far apart, they still consider him their neighbor, which is why they have come to offer a formal greeting. Hiro wants to invite them inside, but Drime is too huge to fit in his house, so Gucci tells him to transform into his human form. As Drime drinks alcohol, he tells Gucci he wants to stay there, but he reminds Drime that he needs to protect their home. He notes that he can intercept any attackers from there, but Gucci tells him they can't overstay their welcome, so they end up flying back. The next day, Hiro tells Leah and one of the High Elves named Lafa that he plans to build a guest house that can fit 4 people, but they tell him that won't work. They explain that people need to climb mountains and cross the forest to reach their village, so they will usually come in huge numbers, which is why the guest house must be big enough to accommodate 30 people. He also decides to change how they greet people, because the angels usually capture people and bring them to him instead of a proper greeting, and everyone prepares for battle when Zabu sounds the alarm. They make a different bell for when they have visitors, and he plans to greet the guests with Lu and Tia. But Anna and the leader of the lizard men named Daga explain that their enemies might try to sneak in with the visitors, so he adds more people to the welcoming party. He tells Flora to watch the guests who stay there until nightfall, but she offers to watch them the whole time instead, and he realizes she and Lu can go without sleeping for several days. After that, a group of people visits the village, and their representative Garf reveals that they're from another village called Howling, and explains that they have come to build connections. Lu asks him if he has other companions, so he explains that he doesn't, but the dogs catch the ones hiding behind the trees. He apologizes and explains that they got left behind, but she warns them to be on their best behavior, since there are dangerous people in the village. They head to the guest house, and the maids welcome them, but Tia suddenly locks the door. She notes that everyone who has come there has brought gifts, but Garf and the others came empty-handed, so they will be treated with less hospitality. Hiro notices the food being served to them is basic, so Anna explains that it's because they didn't bring any gifts, and she doesn't want to serve them wine, but he makes sure they get at least 2 glasses per person. He feels sorry for them, but Tia tells him to get rid of such emotions, because they need to find out what they're after. Hiro asks Garf about the Howling Village, and he learns that they survive by hunting and mining, but they're in trouble because their relation to the human village they trade with has become unstable. They're looking for someone else to trade with, and Garf mentions that they want to deal with physical objects instead of money, because their village doesn't have any currency. He wants Hiro and the others to come to their village to get the materials, since it was incredibly difficult for them to get there, but Hiro explains that they will face the same issue as well. Garf notes that they know how to navigate the forest better, because they've been living there for a long time, and Hiro accepts his proposal, since he can just have Kuro and the others carry the materials. Hiro asks him what he wants to trade, so he notes that they plan to give objects made from ores in exchange for food, and Hiro accepts the deal. As they prepare to leave, Garf apologizes since they didn't bring a gift, and explains that they don't have that custom. He promises to get them something next time, even though it won't be something fancy since their village is poor, but Hiro tells him it's the thought that counts. After that, Tia and her lizard men decide to go to the Howling Village, and Hiro wants to join them, but Lu notes that they can't just send their leader the first time they visit a new place. It usually takes 10 days to get there, but Drime agrees to carry them in exchange for a barrel of wine, and even though he's been visiting them often, no one minds since he always brings gifts. As Tia and the others return, she mentions that the people of the Howling Village were scared of them at first, but everyone started to gather around them when they offered free samples. Drime is sad because she also gave them his wine, but Hiro tells him he can drink as much as he likes during dinner, which cheers him up. Tia notes that the mayor of the Howling Village wants to send 20 women to live with them, but he thinks their village won't have a future if they have no men, so he agrees to the request if they also send young men. One of the girls from the Howling Village named Senna tells Hiro to use them any way he likes, as long as he doesn't abandon them. He tells them to make themselves at home, and assures them he will never kick them out, but he asks her about the men he requested. She reveals that she brought 3 of them, but he sees that they're just kids, so the elves realize they need to wait for them to grow up. Senna and the others get comfortable with their new home, and as she uses magic to save a kid from falling, Hiro realizes he and the kids are the only ones who can't use magic. The ground suddenly starts to shake, which makes him wonder if it's an earthquake, but one of the angels, Gran Maria, tells him a grappler bear and a viper snake are fighting in the forest. She notes that if they keep fighting, it will affect the village, and she explains that they can't jump in without a plan, but he asks her if the monsters can be eaten. She carries him to the monsters, and she thinks they should get back up before engaging, but he tells her to fly close to them, and he instantly cuts them down. He drags them back to the village, where he cooks the bear in wine, which makes everyone think he's wasting the precious wine they worked hard for, but he assures them it's a normal way of cooking. He fries the snake, and he's surprised that it tastes like fried chicken, but he feels like something is missing. He goes to meet Flora and asks her if she has anything that can eliminate microorganisms, so she gives him a bottle that will do the job. He asks her how the preparation of miso is going, so she notes that she did everything he told her, but still hasn't made progress. The explosions from the process have destroyed her hut 3 times, so he decides to help her, and he gets eggs from the henhouse, which he uses to make mayonnaise first. After that, they start to simmer the soybeans they soaked in water, and he makes the koji mold with his farming tool. They mix the koji with salt and make balls, but Hiro tells her they need to let it age in the cellar for a few months, because it will make the flavor more intense. They're interrupted by Lou, who reveals that a group of dwarves led by a man named Donovan has come to visit them. Hiro goes to meet them, and Donovan asks him to give them alcohol, but Tia and Lou tell Hiro they can't give away their wine for free. Donovan explains that they don't have money, but they have the technology to make alcohol out of their crops, which excites everyone. The dwarves make whiskey out of the crops, and as Hiro takes a sip, he realizes it's stronger than wine. The dwarves stay in the village to work as brewers, and once they have made enough alcohol, Hiro throws a party. Drime joins them as well, and once he gets drunk, he notes that he'll show them their new technique, but Gucci drags him out. Hiro asks Donovan if he likes any of the women in their village, but he notes that they're too young, and they aren't for him if they can't grow a beard. The next day, Hiro notices a dragon on its way to their village, so he prepares to launch his spear at it, but Drime attacks it first. Another dragon arrives at the scene, and Hiro throws his spear, but he misses, so he prepares to attack again, but Gucci stops him since they aren't enemies. They transform into their human form, and Hiro learns they're Drime's wife and daughter, who followed him since he's been sneaking out at night. He assures them he's there on diplomatic business, but his wife Gerlun thinks he's hiding something, so he asks them if they really think he has the courage to have an affair, which puts them at ease. Hiro apologizes for attacking them, but Drime notes that it's their fault, so he makes his wife and daughter apologize to him. After he leaves, Gerlun mentions that she didn't think there was anyone in the world who could overpower them, and she notes that the only reason she's alive is because Zabu saved her from Hiro's spear. We learn that Zabu is her old friend, and she tells her daughter Losty to stay with Hiro since they need to make sure he never turns against them. Hiro has no problem with her living with them, but she keeps breaking things because of her dragon strength, so he doesn't know what work to give her. He notices Kuro hiding behind him, so Tia explains that the animals are afraid of dragons, but notes that in addition to their great power, they also have knowledge and wisdom. Beazle returns to the village, and he meets Losty, who notes that she's in charge of the diplomatic relations. He explains that he's there to ask for oranges, but she tells him they're low on supply, and he accepts anything she gives him. Beazle tells the other generals that Hiro has a dragon with him as well, and they think they should send a spy to his village, but Beazle notes that he has a plan. He tells his daughter Florim to go to the Great Tree Village and warns her to keep her safety in mind, but she assures him she'll be fine. Florim heads to the village, where Losty greets her, and she's surprised that such a powerful dragon is there. She starts to show Florim around, but she needs to leave since a visitor from Howling has arrived, so Florim thinks it's her chance to analyze the village's strength. She's shocked to see the powerful people in the village, and thinks Losty is strong enough to lead such a powerful organization, but she knows she isn't their leader. Hiro runs into her and asks her if she's lost, but she doesn't understand what a human is doing there. She thinks he's weak, so she tells him he doesn't need to worry about her, but Losty tells her he's their mayor, and notes that he's strong enough to defeat her. Florim can't believe it, and realizes she was rude to him, so she starts to help around the village, and she greets him properly when she sees him again. The slime Tia brought starts to multiply, and Hiro doesn't pay much attention to it since it's harmless, but one of them drinks a whole barrel of wine, which annoys everyone. They think they should burn it as punishment, but Florim explains that it can't reflect on its actions since it's a slime, so they should just leave it be, and it starts to join them during feasts and celebrations. Hiro is glad autumn has arrived, because it means they can get more work done, but it makes him hungry. He makes a hot pot for everyone, and wishes they had seafood, so Lou tells Flora to start her research on the sea creatures he mentioned, while Tia wonders if they can even eat crabs. Flora mentions there's a port city in the demonic kingdom, where they might be able to get the creatures Hiro mentioned, so she goes with Losty, and they return with a merchant named Michael. He brings fish with him, but notes that the seaweed Hiro asked for is usually thrown back into the ocean, so he will tell his men to get it for him. He mentions there are 3 reasons he came to their village, explaining that the first one is to properly greet Hiro and thank him for doing business with them. The second reason is to suggest more opportunities for them to trade goods, and the third one is to become the person who manages the trades between them and the outside world. He gives them a list of products his company trades, and as he prepares to leave, he mentions that he'll talk with them about alcohol the next time he visits, but they tell him he can't have it. Hiro hopes they have a good relationship, because he doesn't think Michael has any bad motives, but we see that Michael is afraid of them. In a flashback to 3 days earlier, we see that Losty and the others went to see Michael, and he told his men to take care of them, but he suddenly agrees to meet them, because his merchant intuition tells him he can't ignore that meeting. He's shocked to see Florum and Losty, and he wonders what kind of dangerous products they've come to trade, but they just brought the apples that the whole demonic kingdom is talking about. He agrees to trade with them, so he tells his men to get them whatever they need, and he decides to deliver the product himself, but he can't believe just how many dangerous people the village is filled with. In the present, Michael is glad he survived the meeting, and he knows the deal he made will bring in huge profits, but he doesn't know if his body can handle it. The next day, another dragon named Hakurin comes to the village, and she shoots a fireball into the forest to challenge Hiro. He throws his spear at her, but she dodges it, so he throws it again and hits her, causing her to transform into her human form. He wonders why she attacked them, but Drime suddenly arrives, and reveals that she's his older sister. She explains that it's Drime's fault, because he said he was marrying Losty to Hiro, so she came to see what kind of man he is. Drime assures him he isn't planning anything, explaining that he might have said it when he was drunk, and he notes that Hakurin is just there to vent her anger. She's annoyed that her niece is getting married before her, but Hiro grabs onto her and tells her to clean up the mess she made. After that, Hiro treats Hakurin to dinner, and she's jealous that Drime eats such amazing food every day, while Losty apologizes to Hiro for her behavior. She tells Hiro to play mahjong with her, but she wants to bet something on the game, so they decide to play strip mahjong. He plans to win the game before there's any chaos, because he knows that dragons are competitive, but he can't win a single game, and is now down to his last piece of clothing. He finally gets the right pieces, and he thinks he's about to win, but he loses once again, and he has to take off his pants. Meanwhile, Beazle tells everyone that even more dragons have started to live in the village, but the Demon Lord is more worried about his daughter, because she isn't talking to him. After that, Hakurin decides to stay in the village, and Hiro realizes she's at every job, but she complains about anything she's asked to do. He wants to teach her a lesson, so he makes her dig up holes and fill them back in, which makes her give up, and she decides to become a teacher in the village. A group of Lamia girls arrive at the village, and they beg Hiro to spare them, but he has no idea what's going on. They explain that the younger animals from his village decided to clear a dungeon they found in the forest, which made them leave their home. After discussing what to do with Florum, he decides to trade the gems they've mined for food, and he tells them to wear clothes the next time they visit. After that, the Lamias start to work as delivery girls for the village, and Hiro decides to grow more crops, since they've been trading a lot. At the Demon Lord's castle, a group of girls tell the Princess Yuri that the Great Tree Village plans to use Florum as a hostage, so Yuri decides to attack them. Beazle tells Florum about Yuri's plan, and she's confused because she sent the castle reports of how dangerous the village is, but he reveals that no one believed anything she said. He tried to convince the Demon Lord to stop Yuri, but he's too soft on his daughter, so Florum needs to stop the invasion. She knows that if the wrong people in the village learn about the attack, they will destroy the demonic kingdom, so she thinks she needs to stop the invasion without the village's forces. The next day, Florum orders the Lamia to attack Yuri's army, and the soldiers realize they don't stand a chance, so they immediately surrender. Florum makes the girls who convinced Yuri to attack the village stay there, and she tells Hiro he can dispose of them if they do anything suspicious. She adds that Yuri will stay with them as well, so that she can observe how things work in the village, because she thinks the conditions must be harsh. After he leaves, Florum tells everyone to make sure no one finds out they tried to attack the village, which is why Yuri won't get any special treatment. She shows them around, and Losty introduces herself to Yuri, but the girls think they'll be the country's laughingstock if they stay there. They try to run away, but they're caught by the wolves and Zabu, which makes them realize they can't escape. Florum shows Yuri the Inferno wolves, and she's surprised that she can play with them, because they're supposed to be vicious beasts. Florum asks her why she tried to attack the village, even though she warned them not to get involved, so Yuri notes that it's her fault, since she vanished without saying anything. She heard that Florum was taken hostage, which is why she came to save her, and she's annoyed that Florum is acting like they aren't childhood friends, so she assures Yuri she'll explain everything. At night, Hiro is glad that Yuri and the others have adapted to the village's lifestyle, and he wonders why Lu's height hasn't changed throughout the day, so she explains that her transformation magic isn't working. The next day, Yuri decides to do farm work, which surprises her followers, but she makes them help as well. She prepares to leave the village, and Senna gives her a basket of food made from the wheat they harvested together, but the other girls decide to stay there, since they want to repay everyone's kindness. At the castle, the Demon Lord tells Beezle that Yuri has been acting strange ever since she returned, and Beezle notes that she has matured, but the Demon Lord wonders if she met a man. After a while, everyone harvests their pre-winter crop, but Hiro realizes their crops no longer fit in the storage house. He tells Losty and Hakurin they can give the extra food to their parents, so Losty drops it off at Drime's house, and she also takes the crops to Michael for trading. He tells her about a monster that attacks their trade vessels, so she defeats it and takes its meat back to the village. Hakurin carries the crops to her parents, but on her way back, she finds a group of mountain elves and brings them back to the village. Their leader Yao tells Hiro they live in the mountains, but they've been having trouble finding food, which is why Hakurin brought them there. Yao notes that they will leave if Hiro doesn't want to have them, but he tells them he's just thinking about where they will sleep until he builds a house for them, which makes them happy. Yao mentions that they will at least hunt their own food, but she can't catch anything, and Hiro tells her not to hurt herself. She notices that he's trying to make pottery, but the soil that he has isn't good for it, so she finds better quality soil and makes different items for him. Leah tells Hiro that Yao has found a new dungeon in the forest, and she thinks it must be dangerous, but they send a team to investigate it. At night, as Hiro takes a bath, Florum catches the girls who came with Yuri outside the bathhouse, and they tell Florum they plan to wash his back to get on his good side, but she convinces them not to do it. As the survey team returns, they tell Hiro they found a bloody viper in the dungeon, and they suggest sending an extermination team to get its meat. He wonders if it's important, so Yao notes that it improves the relationship between husband and wife, and it's also said to bless people with children, but he explains that they need to talk to everyone before they make a decision. Lu suddenly gets sick, but she assures everyone she's fine, and notes that she's been craving sour foods. Senna mentions that someone in the Howling Village had the same symptoms, and Hiro wonders what happened to them, so she reveals that they had a baby, which shocks everyone. As Hiro wakes up, he runs into Lu and asks her if she's okay, so she tells him he doesn't need to worry about her. He thinks about how he wakes up at noon, because Anna and the other maids insist on waking up before him, and Anna tells him it's his job to keep an eye on things around the house. She mentions that the wine slime broke in last night, and drank an entire barrel of wine, but they had put that barrel to make sure it doesn't get near the other barrels, so he's glad their plan worked. It's time for breakfast, but everyone can't fit in the dining hall, so they split into 3 groups. He notices that Flora is tired, and she explains it's because she hasn't made any progress in making miso, but he tells her to rest. Gran Maria tells him the killer rabbits tried to break in yesterday, but Kuro and the others caught them, and she doesn't mind them trying to sneak in, because it gives them more meat to eat. He thinks about how the angels are incredibly lazy when they're off duty, and they can't do any chores, but they make up for it by protecting the village. Hiro goes to work on the crops, but he finds pests, so he turns his farming tool into a watering can and showers them with water, which makes them go away. During their break, he thinks about how eating lunch isn't a normal thing in this world, so Leah and the High Elves were hesitant to eat breakfast at first. Senna and the others thought they were about to be kicked out for eating as much as they like, but he thinks they were overreacting, and he wants to make sure they never worry about food. Daga tells him the cow has given birth to calves, which is why he needs more food for them, while Leah and Tia note that the storage house is about to be full, so they should give more of their products to Michael. Hiro goes back to work, and he's glad he has more people to help him, but he's the only one who plants new crops with his farming tool. The villagers also ask him to make all kinds of things, and even though he doesn't have any experience in construction, the farming tool allows him to make anything. After that, he joins the others in battle training, and hears Anna talking about how they need to work hard, since they've been eating a lot after coming to the village. He picks up a sword and tries to train, but he struggles to wield it, so he asks Yao to give him a knife, but he can't use it either. He realizes he isn't good with normal weapons, so he decides to just stick to his spear. At night, Anna presents a new dish to Hiro for dinner, but Lu thinks it's too sweet, so he tells Anna she should only serve dishes she's confident in. She refuses the idea, because she hates to waste food, so he tries the dish, and it tastes horrible, but he acts like it's good. Florum gives him a letter from Yuri, who wants to eat more apples, and she asks him to send her more clothes made by Zabu. After that, Hiro takes a bath, and as he goes to his bedroom, he knows the elves are watching him, so he yells for help, which makes all of them come out. He thinks they just want to keep him safe, so he goes to bed, as he thinks about how happy he is with his new life, and he thanks God for reincarnating him. The next day, Hiro visits the dwarves, and he always thought they were drunkards, but he's surprised by how seriously they take their jobs. He tries a new batch of the alcohol they made, and even though he likes it, Donovan doesn't think it's good, and he tells Hiro they need 3 times the amount of grapes they're harvesting. Senna rushes to get Hiro, because a strange man is bowing to the statues of the gods, but Lou recognizes him as the progenitor of the vampires named Vargrai. Hiro wonders what a progenitor is, so she tells him he's like their grandfather, and he reveals that he's 4,000 years old, saying the secret to living such a long life is to occasionally erase his memories. He apologizes for entering their village without a proper greeting, and he reveals that he planned to look around quietly and leave, but he was drawn in by the statues of the gods. He reveals that he met God when he was born, and he has been trying to create a statue of him ever since, but he's never made anything as amazing as the statue they have. Hiro notes that he can't give it away, which disappoints him, but Hiro makes another statue for him, and he asks Hiro for its price. He refuses to take anything for it, since God isn't something that should be used to make money, so Vargrai promises to pay him another way. Vargrai goes to a temple, where he tells the priest to put the statue in the best place, and the priest is hesitant at first, but he realizes it's a masterpiece, so he agrees to put it in the temple. He thinks they should honor its creator, but Vargrai doesn't want to affect Hiro's peaceful life, so he tells the priest to inform all the other temples that they should respect Hiro in his village. Vargrai sends a piano to the Great Tree Village, and the girls from the demonic kingdom realize it's from a large temple, so they try to play it, but they're afraid they might break it. They ask Hiro to get them an old piano to practice on, so he gets one from Michael, and everyone likes it so much that they play it all the time, but he wishes they would stop at night, since it's making it hard for him to sleep. Hiro tells everyone to take a break, and Lou tells him to relax as well, or else he might collapse. She reveals that the girls have told her to exercise a little, and notes that a few of them have already given birth, which makes him relieved, since he knows nothing about it. At night, Tia and the others ask Lou if she needs anything, so she notes that she's fine, but the only thing hard for her is that she can't drink anymore. The next day, they tell Hiro to sell all the alcohol, because they want to stop drinking it for Lou. He's glad to see how devoted they are, but he explains that alcohol tastes better the more it ages, so if they can control their urges, it will taste even better when they drink it. Donovan asks Hiro if they've done something wrong, because no one is drinking their alcohol, so Hiro tells him what's going on, which puts him at ease. Hiro goes to Lou's room to check on her, because it's almost time for her to give birth, and a flower in her room catches his eye, so she notes that Tia and the angels got it for her. They're interrupted by Yao, who gives her the mountain elf's secret medicine, while Losty gives her a gem that helps with magic recovery. Anna makes a pudding for her, and Flora makes a tomato and tofu miso soup, which she finds delicious. Daga notes that he doesn't know how to help her, since lizard men are born from eggs, so he offers his blood to her, but she doesn't think she can bite through his tough skin. Lou finally goes into labor, so they make preparations, while Hiro goes to the trunk of the tree, where he thinks about how he wanted to live alone during his first night. But he now has everyone with him, which is why he's sure everything will be fine. The next day, Hiro goes to check on Lou, and he's glad to see that everything went smoothly. She tells him to hold his son, and as he picks him up, everyone tells him to be careful. It finally hits him that he's a father, and he wishes his son would never need to face the problems he had in his previous life, so Lou notes that they will raise him to be strong, but Hiro panics as he starts to cry. They name the child Alfred, and Hiro thinks about how much everything has grown, so he wants to reward the villagers. He gathers everyone, and tells them he's planning to implement a new system, where he'll give them reward medals, which they can use to buy anything. He's taking care of distributing everything, but it's becoming more difficult for him, because the village has grown a lot. They ask him why they can't just trade goods, so he explains it's because everyone has different values for things, but it won't be a problem with the new system. He gives everyone 3 reward medals, while he gives 30 of them to Kuros and Zabu's family, so they use the money to buy whatever they like. but it increases the demand for specially made furniture and toys, which makes him work even harder. A kid gives her reward medals to Hiro and asks him to give her a baby, but he explains that he can't do that and plays with the kids for the day. After that, Hiro throws a feast to celebrate the birth of his son, and Lou knows she made everyone wait so long, but he tells her they couldn't throw a party right after she gave birth. He notices she has the wooden hammer that Donovan gave her, and he brings a specially made barrel of wine. Hiro helps her open the barrel, and Donovan wonders how they like the wine, but Lou tells him she can't drink while she's breastfeeding. He suggests keeping a bottle of it so that she can let it age before she drinks it, and she thinks it's a great idea. At the Demon Lord's castle, Beazle tells everyone about Alfred's birth, and they realize they don't stand a chance against the villagers. They think they should maintain a good relationship with them, and they consider marrying off a girl from their kingdom, but the Demon Lord tells them he will never send Yuri. We see Michael as he prepares a gift for Hiro, and thinks he should congratulate him properly, since he wants to make sure their relationship lasts for a long time. In the village, Tia and the others tell Hiro there are over 100 people who want to move there, so they think they should make a new village. He explains that it will be a lot of work, but they don't mind it, because they want to make everyone happy. Hiro thinks about how everyone's busier than usual, because a lot of new people are about to come and live with them, so they're working hard to make a new village. Anna serves them lunch, and he's excited to try it since it's a new dish, but Tia thinks they should share it with everyone, so he mentions that he'll give it to them. As he goes to check on everyone, he sees that they're all buried in work, and he tries to give them food, but they tell him they don't have time to eat. Hakurin touches Losty's nose with a feather, which makes her sneeze, and it blows up the documents in front of them. Everyone can't believe what just happened, but Hiro calms them down, and notes that Florum is getting more people to help them. She arrives with girls from the demonic kingdom, and before Hiro leaves, he tells her to give everyone the food he brought after they calm down. Gran Maria reports that she has scouted the area, and she didn't find anything dangerous, while Leah tells Hiro she sent her out, and notes that they should check out the spot for the new village. He wonders if he should pack a meal for the road, but she tells him not to worry about it, since they aren't going too far. She mentions that they will make the new village downstream, but it will be far from the river, so that the villagers can't seize control of it. He doesn't understand what she's talking about, so she notes that she's taking precautions in case there's a rebellion, and tells him they need to be prepared for anything. After that, everyone tries to clear the forest to make a road between the two villages, but they can't even cut down a single tree. Hiro transforms his almighty farming tool into an axe, and cuts down the trees to clear a path to the river, where they build a bridge. He thinks it's too small, but Leah explains that if they make it too wide, monsters will be able to cross the river. Hiro clears the area for the new village, and they build irrigation ducts as well, but Daga tells Hiro to rest while the others do the work for him. Hiro builds a statue of Zabu, and wonders if he should make it bigger, but Lou reminds him he's supposed to be resting. He thinks about how hard he had to work when he was alone, since he didn't even have nails, so he's glad everyone's there to help him. Hiro realizes everything's going smoothly, and Leah asks him if he knows how many people will stay there, but he tells her he has no idea. They're interrupted by Gran Maria, who gives them a message from Drime, which mentions that he's currently bringing the new residents. As Drime arrives, Hiro notes that he should have at least sent a messenger, so he explains that he sent a wyvern, but he ended up getting there first. He introduces the Minotaurs who are about to move there, which surprises Hiro, because he expected them to look like monsters. Their leader Gordon introduces himself to Hiro, and mentions that they've been exiled from their village, so they were wandering around looking for help. Drime notes that they're struggling to support their children, which is why he brought them there as soon as possible, and Hiro tells Anna to prepare food for them. She makes rice porridge, and he wonders if there's something the Minotaurs can eat, but no one knows anything about their kind. A lizard man named Narf mentions that he used to live with Minotaurs, so he talks to them and makes them feel comfortable. After that, Hiro shows the Minotaurs their new home, but they realize the houses are too small for them, so Hiro thinks they need to come up with a solution. Florum tells him Beazle is bringing the new residents as well, but they notice he's exhausted when he arrives. He explains that the situation took a sudden turn, which is why he had to use teleportation magic to get everyone to safety, so Hiro tells him to rest. He notices that the new residents are centaurs, but their leader Gruld tells him to stop staring at her. She introduces herself as a relative of a viscount and tells him to make arrangements, but a girl named Letitia explains that everyone's busy at the moment. Gruel tells them to do something about it, but Letitia reminds her that she came there looking for help, so she needs to change her attitude. Gruel becomes angry hearing this, but Letitia reveals that she's the daughter of Count Daura, so Gruel realizes she's nothing compared to her and apologizes for being rude. Letitia asks Hero to let her help them, since they're connected to her family, but he wonders if everything's okay at her home, because the war might create refugees, but she tells him it's nothing to worry about. They take the centaurs to their new home, but the houses are too small for them as well, so they ask the Lamia to let the centaurs stay with them while they think of a solution. After that, a group of girls arrive at the village, so Hero introduces himself, but they don't say anything. The tree stump they're holding starts to talk, and she introduces herself as their representative Igu. We learn that the girls are tree spirits that can turn into plants, and they transform into trees whenever they encounter monsters, but if they're damaged, it takes them a while to turn back. He wonders why Igu turned into a tree stump, so she explains that it allows her to travel easily, and notes that their lands suffered after the humans cut most of the trees. But Michael told them about the village, so they decided to go there. He asks them what they want to eat, but she mentions that Michael showed them the amazing fruits from the village, which means the soil must be good. Hero takes them to an empty field, but they just stand on the soil, and Igu mentions that they only need water, sun, and soil. Hero thinks the houses that they built will finally be put to use, but Igu notes that they need sunny outdoor spaces, so he tells her he'll build huge windows, but she explains that they prefer to live outside. They give the houses to the kid minotaurs, while the centaurs live in the stable, and the tree spirits stay in the fields. Tia notes that they need to prepare food and other necessities for everyone, and Leah isn't too thrilled about it, since it means more work. But Hero tells her they need to design new houses as well, and it makes her excited. The next day, Hero gathers the representatives of the new residents, but Gruel bows in front of him, so he tells her she doesn't need to be that formal, since they will all be living together. Letitia tells him to act high and mighty, so he tells Gruel to raise her head, and notes that he expects great things from her. He appoints Narf to take care of the Minotaurs, while Letitia will attend to the Centaurs, and a girl whom Senna recommended for a higher role named Mamu will help the tree spirits. He decides to build separate villages for the Minotaurs and Centaurs, and he asks Losty and Hakurin to help clear the area so they transform into dragons, but he tells them not to burn the trees. He points in the direction he wants to make a road, so Losty punches a tree to clear a path, but Hakurin refuses to be left behind, so she clears a path as well. She taunts Losty because her kick was stronger, so Losty notes that she wasn't going all out, but Hero stops them since they might destroy the entire forest. They build tall houses for the Minotaurs, and as Hero sees how big the furniture is, it makes him feel like a kid. But he notices their beds are different, so Gordon explains that they're designed to make sure they don't hit their horns. Hero visits the third village, where they have built stable-like homes for the centaurs, and he wonders why they don't have doors. Gruel explains that they will have problems using normal doors, so they will use curtains instead, and we learn that they use sliding doors whenever it rains. Lou wonders why Alfred is in a bad mood, so Anna plays with him and makes him laugh, which makes Lou wonder what she's doing, but Anna tells her it's a secret. They complete the houses after a month, and they're glad everything was finished before winter, but Florum wonders what they will name the villages. Hero wants to just number them for the time being, but she notes that they shouldn't change the names once they're decided, since it's difficult to rewrite documents. Tia thinks they should make Gordon and Gruel the mayors of villages 2 and 3, but the others think they need to make it clear that Hero is above the other mayors, so they consider giving him another title. Iga wonders when they will make a village for her people, but they have no plan for that, which makes her sad. Hero plans to put them at important points because they seem to be comfortable staying put, and he'll have them relay information since they can communicate telepathically. Tia proposes putting them in Village 1 as well, since no one is living there, and everyone would feel bad if all their efforts went to waste. Narf and Letitia tell Hero they have a problem, and reveal that the Minotaurs and Centaurs haven't been able to hunt anything, which surprises him since he thought hunting was easy. He thinks about how the Inferno Wolves always did the hunting for them, but Tia explains that it isn't a problem for them since they're extremely strong. Hero decides to make sure everyone stays away from the woods, and he also wants to put more guards in each village, so he plans to talk to Kuro and Zabu about it. He asks Mamu if the tree spirits have the same problem, so she mentions that they're pretty strong, but they ambush their targets to take them out, which is why they can't fight a lot of enemies. Hiro makes everyone build a field in their village, since he plans to make them self-sustainable without hunting, but nothing grows in the fields. Gordon asks him what season they plant the seeds in, but he has no idea, since the almighty farming tool lets him plant anything he likes, and he's the only one who can use it. He knows the villages must be able to survive without his help, and Gordon mentions that they can use straws to prevent the fields from getting cold, so Hiro praises him for coming up with that idea. He notes that the wheat will sit through the winter, and it will be ready to harvest before summer, so Hiro realizes it takes 6 months to grow wheat. Senna mentions that they've become used to the fields in the Great Tree Village, and Hiro makes a statue of the god of creation and agriculture in the new village, since he wants to thank them for helping him. The centaurs start a delivery service, where they carry goods between villages, and even though they can't hunt anything, they're fast enough to outrun any monster that gets in their way. Gruld notices that Hiro has a horse, and he notes that he always wanted to ride it, but it doesn't listen to him, so she allows him to ride her instead, which makes the horse jealous. The next day, the horse lets Hiro ride it, and Gruld becomes upset when she sees them. They both offer to let him ride them, but they start to fight, so he tells them to stop, and promises to ride both of them every other day. Meanwhile, Mamu asks Igu if there's anything she needs, but she just mentions that the sky is blue. Hiro is glad that everything's going well, and he hopes that each village will eventually be able to support itself, since relying on the farming tool makes him worried about the future. But Lu tells him to relax, since they will deal with it when the time comes. As he thinks about his future, he remembers that they have another problem, since the Great Tree Village hardly has any men. He thinks the problem might have been resolved, since they have a lot of new residents, and he asks Gordon about the men in their village, but Gordon wonders if they'll be sent to battle. Hiro explains the situation to him, but he mentions that minotaurs only marry their kind, and there's also the problem of how big they are compared to everyone else. Hiro asks Gruld the same question, and she mentions that they have 40 men with them, but all of them are young, while the adults have gone off to fight in a war. He wonders if centaurs ever marry other races, so she notes that if he demands one of their women as a price to live there, she would happily offer herself. He assures her he won't ask for that, but she wonders if it's because he doesn't like strong women, so he tells her to calm down. As winter arrives, Hiro wonders if they have prepared enough food, since they have a lot of new mouths to feed. Narf and Letitia report that they're only going through a third of what they estimated, since the minotaurs and centaurs aren't eating enough, and Narf thinks it's because they're used to conserving food. They aren't changing their habits, even though he told them not to worry about food, and Hiro suggests telling them to eat meat and vegetables, so that they won't spoil. He notices something's wrong with Mamu, so she explains that she was excited to be put in charge of the tree spirits, but she's annoyed since they don't mean anything. Narf tells her the minotaurs want the tree spirits to wear clothes when they're in human form, so she notes that they sometimes forget to do it when they turn back, and promises to tell them to be careful. After that, Tia and Lu smell rice, so they wonder if Hiro will cook rice balls, but he plans to make mochi since they have never tried it before. Everyone gathers around to watch him, and he starts to hit the rice with a hammer, but he quickly gets tired. Everyone volunteers to help him, but as Losty gets involved, she turns it into something completely different. They start the process again, but Anna ends up breaking the bucket, while Flora makes an explosive and tells him it won't blow up the house, but Hiro tells her not to use it. They eventually finish the mochi, and everyone finds it delicious, but Flora ends up burning her mouth, since she didn't think it would be so hot. Leah puts herbs on the mochi, and she's glad they like it, since it was difficult to get them. Mochi making becomes a form of exercise during winter, and Gordon excels at it, so he tells them that instead of using force, they should just lift the hammer and let it fall. After that, Gratz arrives in the village, and he proposes to a minotaur named Roanna, but they don't even know each other, so he removes his helmet and introduces himself. Beazle explains that Gratz wanted to come there to check everything out, since their relation with the village is important for the kingdom, but he fell in love with Roanna at first sight. He asks Hiro to tell him the conditions for marrying Roanna, since she told him to get Hiro's permission, so he asks the girls from the demonic kingdom how they ask for someone's hand in marriage. They mention that their parents choose their spouses, but Letitia thinks Gratz's love for Roanna is like a fairy tale, where they must get past Hiro to be together. Hero tells Gratz the only thing that truly matters is how Roanna feels, so they don't have a problem if she's willing to marry him, but he can't use force to convince her to be with him. At night, Gratz tells Beazle and Randon that he's started to exchange letters with Roanna, but he can't get her out of his head. He's worried that another man will steal her while he's away, and he plans to resign from his position so that he can be with her at all times. Beazle and Randon try to calm him down, but he refuses to listen to them, and Randon notes that he'll quit if Gratz resigns. The next day, as Hero prepares to have lunch, he wishes they had seaweed, but they have no idea what he's talking about. He tells them it's found in the sea, and it usually wraps around food, which makes them think it's a monster. They ask Michael for help, and he brings them the seaweed after a few days, but he mentions that people don't eat it, so he isn't sure if he has what Hero is looking for. He shows them how to process it, and Yao thinks it looks like the weed that grows in the forest, wondering if that's why it's called seaweed. He makes Lu and Tia dry it with their magic, but everyone's surprised to see how thin it is, and they wonder how they're supposed to eat it. He applies heat to it, which makes it crisp, and it also makes the seaweed easier to digest. He wraps it around the rice, and everyone finds it delicious, so they try it with fried mochi as well. Michael offers to prepare seaweed for Hero in exchange for mochi, and Hero notes that he'll give him an answer after he talks to everyone else about it. Michael thinks it will make him a lot of money, and he asks them about the alcohol they make from rice, but they don't want to let him try it. At night, Hero decides to make sushi, and Anna asks him why he's fanning the rice, but he has no idea why he's doing it. He plans to make thick sushi rolls, and even though they're usually made with raw fish, he won't add any raw ingredients into it because the people of this world don't like it. He makes salad rolls filled with crab meat as well, and everyone finds it tasty, telling him they weren't expecting it to be so delicious. Winter is about to end, and Hero wonders if they should start to farm again, even though it's still cold, but Iga tells him it's too early. He tells everyone to decorate the village and place explosives to be set off, but they don't understand why anyone would do that, so he explains that he plans to hold a festival for the village. He tells them about all kinds of festivals in his previous life, which confuses them since they find everything strange, so he thinks it's his fault for giving such weird examples. They mention that they have festivals to welcome the new year and a new harvest, and they discuss it with each other, but he has no idea what they're talking about. He plans to let them handle it, but they have different traditions, so he decides to draw lots, and he gets the martial arts competition where the participants must fight each other. Spring finally comes, and Hero notices that everyone's training hard, since they want to do well in the tournament. Hakurin tells Hero she wants to train at home, since she hasn't unleashed her full power ever since she got there, so he realizes she was holding back when she cleared the trees. Losty asks him if she can also train at home, and he's worried that they'll destroy everything if they fight, so he tells them to act as referees. Lu and Tia are excited to fight each other since they're rivals, but Flora doesn't want to use her explosions on people, so she volunteers to be the healer. On the day of the tournament, everyone gathers at the arena, and Yuri tells Hero she came with her father, who introduces himself as the Demon Lord Galgard. Hakurin notes that her father Dosu is also there to watch the tournament, and Hero recognizes him as the Emperor Dragon. Galgard seems to be afraid of him, but Dosu notices him, and Hero notes that he's the leader of the demons. Gran Maria announces the start of the tournament, and Hero tells the participants not to hurt themselves as they prepare to fight. We learn that the fighters in the general division will compete first, and they can win by throwing their opponents out of the ring, or breaking the bands on their heads. Mama fights a girl named Rosalind, and they start to clash, as Hero realizes they're taking the match seriously. Mama lunges at Rosalind, who disarms her and destroys her headband, so Losty announces that she has won the match, but she mentions that she needs medical attention. Flora heals her, and tells everyone they can break each other's bones, but she can't heal them if they lose limbs. A girl summons fireballs to attack Donovan, but it has no effect, and he carries her off the ring, telling her she would need to train for decades to hurt him with her magic. Gruel charges at her opponent, who summons a barrier to protect herself, but Gruel misses and runs out of the ring, so she loses the match. The final match for the general division is between Floram and Senna, and Floram launches her wind strikes, but Senna dodges them and throws her to the ground. She immediately recovers, and continues to attack with her wind magic, but Senna closes the distance. Floram grabs onto her and throws her back, but they both fall out of the ring, so the fight ends in a draw. Hero gives the winners their prize medals, and Florum announces the start of the Warrior Division matches, where the winners will be decided by knockdown or submission. Lamia prepares to fight an Inferno Wolf, but we see that she's nervous since she still remembers how the wolves raided her lair. The wolf summons a firewall, but she jumps over it and restrains the wolf, telling it to surrender. It suddenly glows as it takes on its true form, and she freaks out when she sees it, so she admits defeat. Daga is up against Zabu's kid Makura, who dodges his attacks and restrains him, forcing him to surrender. The next match is between Garf and Yao, and Garf controls the fight with his speed, as Hero realizes that Yao's weapon puts her at a disadvantage, but she charges up her hammer and sends Garf flying. He almost falls out of the ring, and she knows she can't win, so she concedes the fight. Leah prepares to fight Gran Maria, who explains that she isn't using her spear since she has decided to hold back, but Leah activates her invisibility and attacks her from all directions. Gran Maria starts to fly, but she still can't find Leah, who jumps after her and smashes her to the ground. Leah catches her in an arm lock and tells her to give up, but she starts to lift Leah with her brute strength, so Leah activates her trump card. They both get struck by lightning, but neither of them can get back up, so the fight ends in a tie. Tia and Lu both fight angels, and they crush their opponents, so they proceed to the next round. As they prepare for their match, Lu changes into her battle gear, since she wants to fight Tia with everything she's got. They start to fight, but Hero can't understand what's happening, so he takes out his almighty tool. He realizes it allows him to see their movements, since it improves his physical abilities, and Lu uses her magic to push Tia to the ground. She punches her in the face, but Tia hits her back, and they continue to trade blows, as Hero realizes they're having fun. Tia comes out on top, but Lu starts to cry, and notes that Tia is bullying her. Tia proceeds to the final match, but she freaks out when she sees that it's Makura, who immediately restrains her to win the fight. Hero congratulates Makura on winning the Warrior Division, and praises the competitors for putting on a good show, but Hakuren and Losty also want to fight, so he allows them to have a mock battle. Everyone feels a shockwave as they unleash their powers, and their fight creates a massive explosion, which ends up destroying the arena. Hakuren wins the match, and Lu is upset since their battle caused so much damage, but Hero is just glad that everyone enjoyed the festival. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.